6 months ago, I finally purchased a C6 Corvette, the first LS car I've ever owned. And I bought it because there's a certain build that I've had in mind for the past few years. And in the background of everything that we have been doing this last 6 months, we've also been building this car. So in this video, sit back and relax, because you're gonna see 6 months of work compiled into one episode of building the C6 of my dreams. So to get this build started, we're gonna back it in the garage and put it on the lift to start disassembling everything. But if you have a keen eye, you'll notice there's a roll cage in the car. And that's because 2 weeks prior to this, we sent this over to our buddy Marks to fab in our brand new roll cage from Cage Kits. We're gonna be adding a roll cage to this car because this car is gonna see more track time than street time. So safety is our #1 priority. Cage Kits is awesome. We have been using them on all of our cars as of late. Everything's already cut. All you have to do is weld the cage into the car. But a huge shout out to Cage Kits for sending this out, because they are a lifesaver. And now that you guys are caught up, let's get this car on the rack and start disassembling everything.
I knew it. Calvin gets in a car and I'm like, oh, a little left, and I just hear the bypass valve, the steering rack, just full hand down everything as hard as it can every time he's in a car. It doesn't matter the vehicle. I'm like, a little right, and when
It ain't going nowhere.
all we're doing is we're taking the entire body off of all of the drivetrain and subframes from this car. So it's gonna be like an RC car, body's gonna come off, we're gonna take all the electronics, cooling, fueling, all that stuff, and drop all the subframes. So watch us do that.
Damn, that is so wild. Send her home, Twan. Whoa. Corvettes are so weird.
That's pretty cool to see. Never
That
seen it in
is
person.
wild. Wow, literally the whole entire drivetrain separates from the actual body of the car. And this is why people say working on Corvettes are the absolute worst cars to work on. So from this point, we'll now be able to access pretty much everything that we're gonna be putting on the car. We'll be able to disconnect the engine from the front subframe somehow, while supporting the weight of everything else. But the transmission being in the back is the weirdest thing on this car. That is so strange.
It's pretty cool. Like, look up and under the belly. All flat bottom. Like, these cars are race cars, you know?
Yeah, Corvettes are so cool.
Look at the ducting here, the brakes.
I know, so you have under panel ducting that reroutes to the actual rear brake setup to keep them cool. That's crazy, dude. So now we'll be able to modify all of the suspension components, install everything, and build our engine and take it apart from here. I never thought we'd have a use for these big mega jack stands, but today I was proven wrong. And now with the drivetrain officially removed from the chassis, we can start taking apart everything. We're gonna start by taking the torque tube off the back of the block and then start taking the engine off the front subframe. Once the engine is safely on the hoist, we can now remove the clutch assembly and put it onto an engine stand. And this is always one of my most favorite parts about doing a rebuild. It's cleaning off years and years of grime to make something look brand new again. So we're gonna start with McGuire's Citrus Power Cleaner Plus, and we're gonna spray the whole entire rear differential with this product. This is gonna allow the grease and oil buildup to kind of loosen up a little bit, so when we take a high pressure washer to it, it will all start coming off. Now this Corvette is about 17 years old, and if I had to guess, I would say that this car has never been cleaned to this detail. So we are the ones saving this car and bringing it back to new.
For those who don't know Corvettes, young male in the back. Oh, TJ doesn't know. This is called a transaxle. Effectively, you have your transmission, and then I'd call it your axle, which is your axles and your differential. So, ring and pinion, transmission, and it's all at the rear of the car. And then you have your torque tube, which you could think of as just a drive shaft, which is normally from your transmission to your diff, but instead, they're slammed together, and then your engine's up here. There's a bushing in that, and all this other stuff that you'll find out when we replace it. Right now what we're doing is pulling everything off because it gets all new everything. And instead of this singular composite leaf spring, we're going coilover. So right now Calvin did the hard work, removed everything, and we're going to pull the leaf spring out.
Now that the diff and trans is all cleaned up, we're gonna start by putting it on a lift so we can remove the rear subframe from the unit itself. The reason why we're gonna do this is because we're gonna be disassembling all of the rear suspension components because some of it is gonna be used later in this video. Some things like the wheel hubs and certain bearings and studs we all wanna keep, so everything has to be disassembled. And while we're finishing up this job, we're gonna have Calvin start removing everything else left on the Corvette. This is things like fender liners, interior pieces, OEM heat shielding, OEM ducts. If it's on the car, it has to come off.
That's f***ing cold. That f***ing hurt. Ah, that did no actual damage, but man, my hands are cold. That hurt. I think so. Wonderful.
While the boys continue to remove the rest of the body panels of the C6, because something that's really cool about the C6 is that the whole entire body actually bolts off. Unlike traditional cars that we're used to seeing, the rear quarter panels, for example, are all a part of the roof and the skin, and to do a rear quarter panel replacement, you have to actually cut up top, drill out all the spot welds, and remove it. But the C6 is like the C8. I wonder if the C7 is probably the same way. I would imagine it would be, but the C6, you can actually unbolt the rear quarter panel. So they're gonna continue to remove everything else. And I'm gonna start gathering together some parts that we can work on today that I think we should focus on, which would be interior. While the boys are cleaning up all of the drivetrain, all that stuff, there's a lot of work we can do on the inside. C6s have so much hidden hardware to get these bumpers out, bro. Why don't you want to come off? You guys, do the world a favor and don't tint your taillights.
Hold on.
Oh God. Oh, unhook the bottom.
It's coming off. It's all the wires now.
Okay.
There's so many.
Hey Calv, got myself in quite the pickle. Look how many wires on the back of this bumper.
All of the wires.
TJ, tell me to write. Can you just get a bag and write quarter panel hardware?
Yes, I did say that.
Stop.
Trying to take this off, man. Why there's so many hidden hardwares on these damn American cars? It's not like the JDM cars where it's simple, top, side, bottom, left, right. It's all these hidden things.
Tell me a JDM car that you can remove the quarter panel from the chassis.
An NSX. What is this body bag doing in there?
You can give me a gnarly side eye.
The door's shut. Got it. Yeah, the other side definitely has something holding it up.
Here it is again.
Ah, there it is.
I think we take these three.
Those four, one, two. Oh, those three.
Sevens
Yeah,
or sixes or whatever.
yeah, 100%.
And then we go bloop.
Oh, I was getting scared there. We have the Corvette pretty much stripped of the drivetrain and all the external and interior pieces. This chassis is actually really cool because I've noticed that a lot of it, other than the frame, is all composite, which is lightweight and very strong. I don't know much about this platform, so we're gonna learn a lot throughout today's video. But while the engine is out and while everything is out, we're gonna focus on a few different areas. Right now, Dylan and I are gonna tackle our fueling system. We're gonna dive into all of our radium bits. Now, radium has been a partner of this channel for the last year and a half. Every single car in this garage utilizes radium. They make all things from drop-in hangers, fuel rails, catch cans. If it's fueling related, radium makes it. So a lot of these things, we have a fuel rail plumbing kit, we have a dual catch can kit, and we also have fuel rails. And we are gonna be building the LS engine in this video, so stay tuned for that. But all of these parts are gonna get set aside until we get to building the engine. And in the meantime, we have two boxes here for a drop-in kit system. Now the reason why I really like the drop-ins from Radium is because they act as a surge tank, which means there's a lifter pump and then your primary pumps. The lifter pumps are gonna be supplying fuel to the primary pumps to eliminate fuel slosh. And we can also increase our fuel delivery as much as we like, because you can add 2 or 3 pumps to the setup. I wanna give a massive shout out and thank you to Radium. We literally use them in every single one of our cars at this point. And it's one of those products that just work and they fit and they're turnkey and they have never failed us. So Calvin's gonna start putting together the new fuel sending unit while while I'm working on the Corvette removing the stock gas tank. I have to remove the whole entire gas tank because the only way to access the fuel sending unit is by removing the whole entire tank. And I've been warned before that C6s are awesome, but they're a nightmare to work on. And let me confirm with you, they 100% are.
Build a C6, they said. Upgrade the fuel pumps, they said. Only way to upgrade fuel pumps in a C6 is to drop the fuel tank. We forgot to drain the fuel before starting this build.
And it's so full. Like, why did you have so much gas in this car, bro?
I don't know. I didn't ever even drive it. We've
so
made a
much
mess.
gas. Okay, all right. Just get it out.
I gotta figure out how to...
Just get it out. You put down the hammer and the screwdriver. TJ, put down the hammer and the... There it is. Oh my goodness.
It's quite tight.
That's what,
It's too easy.
your mom said.
Well, your mom's a nice lady.
Oh my, oh, okay. High ground? Is that where we're going? TJ,
She's
high
a
ground?
sweetheart.
I'm going, oh.
You're taking the low ground. See the difference?
Let me try. Take the camera.
It's hitting.
Thank you, TJ. I literally just tried.
Well, I loosened it up.
Oh, thanks, TJ. Why is it so tight? Okay. Do you have to unscrew the, oh, we do.
And now with the new radium fuel sending unit assembled, Calvin is easily able to slip it back in because it's much slender than the original setup. And just as we were finishing this up, we had a little issue in the shop and someone had to call 911.
No worry, the LS doctor is here.
And the issue is that we had an LS engine that was stock. And the only person that I knew I could call to help this was the LS doctor.
What we got? What do we got?
I don't know, I'm thinking about keeping it stock.
No, you need a second opinion for sure. We need to check this baby and make sure it's gonna be ready for you for next year.
Are you sure? I think it's gonna be okay.
I don't think so, but let me check it. Stock? Are you sure? Okay? Are you feeling good?
I think I'm okay, but I'm a little undecided on this. Maybe.
You stock? No. No.
I called him my friend Margaritas. He is a amazing engine builder, and I've been waiting to do an engine with him, and we finally have the opportunity. So let's show you guys what we're gonna be doing.
That's how it looks. So the biggest part we're gonna do on this upgrade on the engines, it's gonna be the LS Doctor heads. And TJ don't know about that, but I special design for him the heads, and we write down his logo. So let's see his reaction. Hey TJ, I have another surprise for you.
A baby.
This is your heads, the new heads for the car. And I want to show you something here.
Okay.
This is gonna be the side people are gonna see.
Whoa! That is sick. You got me. You came on Christmas, bearing me little special upgrades. That is sick.
Bro,
These are your heads, right?
Yes, and I felt so proud I'm gonna be on part of this thing, and you know I want to be one-to-one, so no one's have this logo. It's gonna be there.
That is so sweet. You know, I've found a lot of similarities in life. Like Dylan being a gorilla and Anthony being a BMW hot boy, and debt is something we all have, and we all have little problems with our car that we all want to fix. And that's why PDS debt exists. Some of us have cars that have O2 sensor problems, MAF sensor problems, breaking up in the mid-range of the RPM, or maybe just your TPMS sensor is not working. Just like some of us have credit card bills, personal loans, medical bills, and those are all things that we want to fix on both sides. And that's why I love PDS debt. They're there to help you manage your debt, and they empower you to take control. Because while using their platform, they go beyond just the numbers to understand your unique financial situation and craft a personalized plan designed just for you. It's kind of like these tuners we use for our cars. These will address problems and make fixes for your tune to address any issues you could be having with your car. That's kind of what PDS debt is. And here's the best part with PDS debt. There's no minimum credit score required. Bad and fair credit is both accepted. They're there to help you save more and pay off your debt faster and start putting all that money back where it belongs. In your cars. Not in your cars. That's where it's supposed to go. That's why we're all here, right? So get started today and go to pdsdebt.com/hunt. And you can take a free debt analysis test that only takes 30 seconds to get started. Every day that you wait is just costing you more money. So click the links down below and get started. And thank you so much to PDS Debt for sponsoring today's video. I have been waiting to do something with Margaritas for such a long time, and as you guys know, I've been drifting with him for years. And when
He's beating me for years.
when
I always lose with the stock 370Z. I'm very embarrassed about that. But you know, he's such a good driver. I'm like,
we've only battled twice, and
both-
I've gotten lucky both times.
no.
But every time we go to any competition, you show up and we would always see, this is like before we knew him, we would see his E46 there and we'd be like, fuck, dude, pissed. We were never stoked that you were there. And then over the years, I've gotten to know him, he's gotten to know me, and he's become a really good friend, and I always love seeing him at the racetrack. And he always has this ambulance. This is what he brings to the pits. Like, he has a trailer on the back of this, and it was always like the weirdest thing. And as I've gotten to know him and know more about his business and what he does, I find it so fascinating, and I'm so stoked. And now you're an FD.
Yes.
You've left all of us small-time drifters. Now you're out in the big league.
Stop.
You're in the
You
big
can be
leagues.
there. You choose to don't be there, and we all know that.
You're in the big leagues, dog. It's been really fun watching you.
It's very nice because, you know, last year we ended up 26th, and this year we end up 8th.
Yeah.
And podium on the last.
I know,
So-
dude.
And I did beat on the finals, but you know the program is going good, and you know we escalate, and everything is going very well. So looking for the top 3 next year.
It's gonna
Your
happen.
boy,
It's
your
gonna
boy,
happen.
your boy.
It's-
Maybe happening. You know,
it's
maybe,
gonna happen.
Maybe we
I
do
believe it. I believe it.
Yeah. So for this engine build, after we talked with TJ and his team, we decided to go with something simple but very efficient. These engines, they make around 400 horsepower, and what I want for him is to don't worry about the engine. We're gonna check compression of the engine to make sure everything is okay and the engine is running good and healthy before we do any upgrades. We're gonna remove the heads, we're gonna remove the lifters, we're gonna put new LS7 lifters, new camshaft, new gears. We basically going to leave only the block, piston, rods, and the crank for the engine, and we're gonna change everything else. One of the most important things we need to change on this engine, because he's going to driving in a very high RPM, is this disassembly. The whole gear with a single screw and the tensioners, it's broken usually. The piston falling down and they hitting around. So we're gonna go on the old style with the 3 bolts cam, and we're gonna of course change all of them, all the gears, even if they are still good. I just worry if he's going on 7,000, 7,500 RPM, this one is gonna broke. So I don't want that happen. So we're gonna change all of that, and we're gonna go with extra strong and stale LS3, but the old style, because we find out through the years that's way more stronger than this. We're gonna put new bearings, new lifters, new gaskets, new LS Doctor heads, 5-stage camshaft, so he can get this extra juice and don't worry about the engine. And I'm pretty excited because the Corvettes are very good cars, so he have done a very good choice on that, and we're targeting to go in about 500 horsepower on this engine. So hopefully he's gonna get this 150 horsepower to the wheels more, which I know sounds a lot, but it's not actually a lot with the stuff we do, because we put very quality stuff. And he was not cheap at all. He's like, tell me what you want, tell me what you need, buy everything, and let's do it.
If any of you guys are looking to have any sort of LS engine built, I highly encourage you guys reach out to Margaritas. His information is on screen, so you guys know where to find him. But I want to answer some questions you guys might be having as to why I'm going with this type of certain setup. There might be questions as to, why am I not building the engine larger? Why am I not throwing on a supercharger or going twin turbo? And the answer is this. Based on the type of driving this car is going to be seeing, that 500 to 550 horsepower range is what I consider to be the sweet spot. Any less power, it's gonna lose its competitiveness. And if we add another 100, 200 horsepower, we're really just gonna be blowing the tires off for what tire class this car is gonna be competing in. It will see a 265, 300 tread per tire nearly every single race, with the occasional 215 tire class. With that 500 sweet spot, it's gonna be able to keep up with anything at 700 horsepower or anything as slow as 300 horsepower. That pretty much eliminates why I didn't want to do any sort of forced induction, but I'm really giving this my effort to try what a high horsepower NA setup is like. You always see guys who swear by this formula that nothing ever breaks, and if it does, any parts you might need are at your local auto parts store.
When we install the lifters, I dip them on 0-20, some thin, full synthetic oil. The Valvoline is a very good choice for that. I dip them and I leave them inside the whole night. So we have done that and now I know all the lifters, they are full and all the air is out. Thank you Valvoline for that. Yeah, 020, it's an oil we don't gonna use on this engine because we're gonna use the race oil. What we're gonna do now, we dip them all night, all the lifters, so now we know there is no air between the lifters, and now we know on the first start we're not gonna have noises on the car.
I've never had a setup like this. I've either been a VQ NA boy or it's been a JZ with a turbo. So this is my real attempt at gathering the best NA setup I could to give it a shot. And to be honest, I think I'm really gonna like it. Wait until we start this car up later in this video and you'll see my reaction. It's 100% worth it. Well, here she is. In just 2 short days, our new engine is assembled. You killed it. You killed it.
I mean, I have a nice place over here. You guys give me a good corner. I have the aspirations here and there. So I need to perform, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I don't know where we are at the point of this video. We still have a lot more work to do, but stay to the end of this video and we're gonna be driving it and listening to it and tuning it. So it's trust me, the exhaust setup with the cam setup is going to be it's gonna be probably one of the rowdiest engines on this channel, apart from maybe the 20B.
Pretty much, it's a simple build with everything new and everything way more aggressive for what we can get for the LS3.
So I wanna give Margaritas a big shout out for coming here and putting this together, but I also wanna put him on game. He's an amazing LS engine builder and he lives in Southern California, but can build engines from anywhere. If you send him parts or send him your engine, he can send it all back. And he just started his own company. He's been building engines for a very, very long time, but now he's independent, he's on his own. So where can people find you if they want an engine built by the LS Doctor?
Well, LS Doctor is the Instagram, the new Instagram channel. The Greek Doctor is the YouTube channel, which I give some tips for everybody to see the FD from inside, Formula Drift. If you guys don't know, I'm driving for Formula Drift Prospect. TGD Margaritis is my main account on Instagram.
I'm gonna link it all down below and it's all on screen. And I've actually, like I told you guys, I've been driving with Margaritas for years and I'm stoked that we finally got to do something together. I'm very thankful that we got to work with him on this engine and have him do everything in-house so nothing was missed, so we can really document everything, and it would not have been possible without you.
I want to thank you also for the opportunity. You always inspire, and we know, before I moved to US, I was watching your videos, like, I don't know, 10, 12 years ago, when you started. Like, it was very nice. Like, YouTube was a new thing.
Yeah.
And the American boys, you know, live the dream, you know. So I was always, you know, hoping one day I'm gonna meet you, you know, in person. And I was very stoked when you was coming driving with us. And your progression, bro, it's like, I'm a big fan of your driving.
Thank you.
No, for real. Like,
thank you.
I know you telling how good I am or whatever, but you're an incredible driver.
Thank you.
I'm always stuck to driving with you.
Yeah.
And I need to take my blood back because I have lost a lot of time.
I always love driving with you.
You make me nervous? What's going on?
Dude, we get nervous. Ask Dylan, anytime we're at a comp and we look at the lineup and you're on our bracket or we're lined up with you, we're like,
I'm the same way.
I'm
the same way.
You're talented, you're aggressive, and your car's fast.
Yeah.
So all of it's a combo, dude.
Aggressive? Did
Yeah.
you see his transition behind me? He's like, without tomorrow.
Also, this is
my
me.
spotter is like, you know what he's gonna do? He's gonna transit without tomorrow with you. I feel like he's closing his eyes.
I go like this.
Transition.
I go, I want your bumper on his bumper. I want you to leave it. And then with the 370, and he scrubbed you and his bumper went like
I
that.
have Max, he have destroyed 2 of my doors.
You're welcome.
Yeah, you're welcome.
From him, but you're welcome.
yeah.
Hey, a chase, I can't have a good chase without a good lead.
And same goes for me as you. Now with the engine complete, you can see we already threw on the headers, but stay tuned, I'll talk about that in a little bit. But it's time for us to finally install our brand new ACT clutch. We run these clutches in every single one of our cars. And the reason why? They just work. We abuse them on the racetrack and on the road, and I have found in my experience when it comes to clutches, ACT has never let me down. So now with this all assembled, let's put the torque tube back on the car and start assembling everything to go back into the shell of the Corvette.
Okay, chat. We're back. We're back. Okay, chat, we have lower control arms for the rear. That's what I'm doing. These guys. The thing that says L, like the L on your mom. Like the L tattooed on your mom's forehead. Got him. Got him. Twan, please don't make me look bad. I appreciate that. Thank you, brother. They're gonna see that I took an L, right? Listen, all right. Listen to me, Twan. I took no L. Okay, I took no L. I took no L. Wait, are you accusing me of things again, TJ?
Sounds like it.
Of what?
Are you accusing me of things?
Say it on camera.
Okay. Oh! Stop. I am not your Nino, okay? I am not your
I have not said that word because I know you don't like it. Don't bring back the Nino. My Nino.
I ain't your Nino, bro.
My Nino,
I ain't your
dog.
Nino, bro.
He was my Nino.
I ain't your Nino, bro.
Ain't my Nino.
Yeah, ain't no Nino, bro. I can't see anything.
Fuck, man. It's like watching a blind.
I got it.
mouse
I
trying to
got
get the
it.
cheese.
I got it. It's good. Oh. I don't have a tripod. I have a GoPro with this gravity hand. I got a GoPro with a gravity hand. Okay?
And before we put all this back in, we're gonna throw on all of our suspension components, starting with WiseFab. This car is going to be a drift car, so having angle and grip is extremely important. In my years of drifting, I have been through all different types of brands, but the one that I have found that I love the most when it comes to reliability and driving style and customization of how I want the car to drive is WiseFab. Also, just to prove how long we've been filming this video, look at the special guest in the background. We filmed that video with him literally months ago. Shout out to Vin. And right now we're installing the rear grip kit for this car. This is super crucial because it's gonna allow us to get way more side bite out of this car and really allow us to use the chassis grip versus tire grip. Now, because we're changing so much on the car, the setup isn't that easy to put together. So Dylan's gonna have to take the original knuckle of the car, chop it in half, modify it to fit our dual caliper setup, as well as fit in our new bushings from WiseFab. But once you put in that work, the results are tenfold.
The hub is finally put together. Look at that. Dual caliper bracket on. Dylan had to cut out the old point where the toe arm was. We put on this bracket, pressed in a new bushing. What's going on?
And just look at the results. Nothing does it more for me than seeing a brand new WiseFab setup, the bright blue arms. It's a work of art and I can't wait to see it on the racetrack. Now with the whole entire drivetrain pretty much assembled, all of the WiseFab on, our power steering rack back on, the modified FDF parts back on, the engine assembled, all the hard work is done. Now we have to do the last hurdle, and that's put the drivetrain back in the car. It's still so weird that you can separate both of this. So here's our plan. We only have one of these pushcart dollies, and we really need two of them. The second one doesn't show up for another day, and we're done waiting. So we're gonna line up the rear part of the drivetrain with the torque tube and the diff and the rear subframe assembly up to the car. When we think that this is lined up appropriately, then we're gonna use these rolling pallets that we have. We're gonna transfer the whole front subframe onto the rolling pallets, and if our math is correct and the rear lines up, that means the front should line up or be very, very close. So we're gonna try to lower everything onto the car. I don't really know how it's gonna work yet, but Dylan and Mark seem to be pretty confident, and at this point, I'm following their lead.
You wanna see how it works?
Dylan says he's gonna work.
I thought
on it
Dylan's
and make
picking
it
up
run
the
today.
transmission.
Yeah, I just thought you were just gonna pick up the engine.
Yeah.
Done it before, do it again.
drivetrain is now loosely bolted in. So we're gonna go up and we're gonna drop everything from underneath the drivetrain and we'll tighten everything up. But this is the first time that everything's finally back in the car.
What's worst case scenario?
The car flips. That's worst case scenario.
Shears the studs and it stays on the ground. Yeah! It's a car again. You guys don't know how long this has actually really been assembled for because it's only been 20 minutes for you guys.
I wish I could do that.
It's like the Interstellar scene. What's the planet name?
The water one.
The water
When
planet.
it's like 7 years.
For every
That's
1
this,
hour on
yeah.
Earth.
Now with the drivetrain in the car and most of the engine bay all dialed up, we're gonna move on to the interior. And honestly, this car is shaping up to be cooler than I thought it would be. Not that I wasn't excited on this car, but like we've done this a few times now and the boys have done this a few times and it's looking way too serious of a car than what I intended it to be.
Dude, super simple build.
Yeah, not quite simple, but we're gonna move on to the interior now. So with the hydro mounted and the shifter through the actual center, we're gonna be able to put in the seat brackets, put in our new seats, and then start test fitting the center console. Because it's a drift car, we're trying to save as much weight as possible, and we're trying to limit as much stuff to go back into this car. Only put in a few features to make it look a little bit nicer. Very similar to our A90 build that we guys did if you watched that. We're gonna get crafty to try to keep as much but as minimal as possible, if that makes sense. So we have 2 new seats. We have new seats from Sparco. We have the Circuit, this is the driver's seat with the halos. You have to run the halos in most of the drift competitions in California that are like Pro-Am style or FD licensing for regulation. So this has the halos that will pass tech.
Because this head will go like this. And then it can't go any further.
Yes, but even though you're wearing a Hans, I don't know, we need to. It's all FD regulation. And our passenger seat is the QRT-R, which is no halo, a little bit more comfortable, and it's gonna make for a great passenger seat. So we have these really fancy seat rails from FDF. That is the most complicated seat rail I've ever seen, but they get you really low and are actually quite easy to work on, even though I just said they're complicated. They look complicated, but they're super dope. So Josiah, shout out to you.
Yeah, I told Dylan last night, remember? And I was like, this car is not the 370. Like, even though it's taking its spot, it is not.
This is a major upgrade from the 370. And if I haven't said in this video, this C6 is meant to replace the 370. And if you're watching this and you're like, but wait, you have Selena, and you also have the A90, which I've told you guys a few times before. Drift HQ is building our A90 Supra into our new Pro car, which is gonna be a 3.4 JZ, big car, which is more like the FD level car. But I wanted to have a car that was stock drivetrain, and what I mean by that is uses the factory gearbox, factory diff, and we're doing all these simple, reliable modifications to this car. So reliable, LS, heads, the basics.
It's a weird looking supercharger he got on the car.
I'm about to make big.
So this is kind of meant to fill the void for more grassroots style rather than the big Pro-Am comps or the big grid lives where you need like 700, 800 horsepower with a quick change and a dog box. This will make a great practice car because in theory, not a lot to go wrong. Bring a bunch of tires, change them out all day, and that should hopefully be the only thing you should need to do on the car. It's a very proven chassis. There's been a lot of other people who have proven the C6 to be an amazing car. And that's what this is, grassroots, and if one of our big cars goes down, we know we have this that will just work. You know, I said that in the Evo video and it blew up at the end, so let's hopefully we don't have the same type of mentality with this video.
Like this?
We're gonna be using Valvoline to really protect our engine and making sure, even though we did use the same thing for the Evo and it blew up, that's because Dylan was driving it. So what did we learn from that? Don't let Dylan drive this car, and we should be fine.
Cut it.
Hey Jesse, do you wanna drive this car when we take it out to the track? I do want to. Ah, cool, man. Hey Cobb, you wanna drive this car?
Yes, you can really do.
Twan, you wanna drive this car?
Yeah, let's do it.
Hey Dylan, oh you can't drive it, Dylan, sorry. We just got a delivery for some parts that we've been waiting on for this car. We have brand new Öhlins coilovers, but not just any Öhlins coilovers. These are a collaboration with Sake Bomb. Look at that, Sake Bomb FP spec. This is not a product that Öhlins sells. So it's some of Olin's components with the bodies from Sake Bomb, but you can order them from Sake Bomb, so be sure to do that. I'll link them down below. They've been making a few different coilovers from us that Olin's doesn't make. You can kind of like use some of the stuff from Sake Bomb and use parts from Olin's to make a certain set, but Olin's on a Corvette. Who would have thought? So these came in, we're super hyped. The car's just kind of been sitting with no suspension, if you guys have kind of noticed that. And another big piece that we just got in is a huge order from Chase Bay. Now, huge shout out to Chase. Shocker, the owner of Chase Bay's his name is Chase. We have brand new lines for all of our brakes and everything for the engine bay. So we have, what, Dylan? We have oil cooler lines, power steering lines.
Any fluid transportation.
Like
any fluid transportation.
Brand new lines.
Is
well, besides
that.
radium stuff. But like, I mean, dude, check this out. We have, I don't even know what all this stuff is quite yet. This is a huge order that we've been waiting on. Oh,
Power
and
steering,
we got
oil coolers, power steering cooler, reservoirs, inline fill cap for the radiator so we can move it and we don't have to have the super gross reservoir, brake lines, hydro lines, and we should also have this.
Yeah, because the hydro kit we ordered didn't come with lines. It's not a hydro kit.
Yeah.
If it doesn't come with lines, that's just a hydro. So mildly frustrating, but Chase Bay's hooked us up.
And my favorite, delay valve. A delay valve.
For the clutch?
Chase Bay sells this for almost every chassis, and it's a clutch line with a delay valve. If you have a car that's a manual and you drift it, just get this right here. I don't know, it's my favorite. I'm really passionate about delay valves.
Oh, and whoa, one more fitting, Dylan.
High pressure fitting for the steering rack that nobody sells, but Chase Bays will include that in their kit. They're developing C6 stuff right now, so we kind of got first of the game on this.
Huge. Once we get these things on, the car can start and roll under its own power. We're almost to the point of starting it. If you guys have stayed throughout this whole entire video, we're almost there. Hang tight. Let's install this stuff first. Dylan found these. You might be like, what is this? Is it a guitar?
Nobody thought it was a guitar.
What did you think? It was a piano? No, it's a saxophone.
No, it's a cutout at the fair. You put your face in it, you take a photo.
Oh, it's actually, if you ever wanted to be Calvin.
There it is.
No, it's a door card. Why are we using door cards? Well, remember when we added the roll cage, the inside of the door doesn't fit with the interior anymore. So rather than just having a naked door card or a naked inside of a door, we got these from LRB and they made it really, really quickly for us, which was awesome. But we'll have a spot to put in our speaker and put in all of the control panels still, so you can still open the door right on the window, all that stuff. Is this the right side?
I think so, yeah.
It might be. Sick. So now this will close with the cage and you can still put all of the little door functions back on there.
That's tight.
And it's one thing I've started to add in some of the cars. And you don't think it's really that necessary until you add it and you're like, why did I not do this sooner? So we could have powder coated it. They offer that from their website, but due to the time, we're like, to send it to us raw and we'll spray paint it ourselves.
Give it to us raw.
Dylan, don't be so direct.
That face was not
I'm scared.
anything.
That was the face to be concerned about.
Oh, there it is.
Oh,
do it again.
What?
Nothing. It's a devious smile. I do not like it.
Finally getting to the suspension assembly of this car, and all the bright colors and the bright gold make me feel a certain type of way. I have to say, it's definitely one of my favorite aspects of this car because this suspension setup is absolutely baller. But speaking of my favorites, it's time for us to move on to another one of my favorite pieces on this car. Time to finish the rest of the headers and exhaust. Concept 841. At this point in the video, you haven't seen why we're so excited on this stuff, but just wait a little bit longer and you'll see this thing start up and it will all make sense. I've never done headers like this, where it's like you attach the pipes to the pipes. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, the slip-ons?
Yeah, I've never needed a car that does that.
Oh, I did it upside down. I'm stupid. Nobody will see that. Not the internet. Not the entire internet.
Leaving that one in now.
Wow, that's really nice.
Give me a split job.
Yep. There. Oh yeah.
There it is.
Oh yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, that's it. It's almost there though.
Damn, that's gnarly.
Yeah, that's crazy.
That looks ridiculous.
Talk about an exhaust. Look at that.
Holy sh!
Isn't that crazy?
What?
Yeah.
Looks like a drive shaft.
It does. It does look like a drive shaft. And then this blast pipe. Oh my god. Oh,
lined up.
there it is. So you go from 8 to 4 to 1. Concept 841. We're utilizing Concept 841 headers and mid pipe, let's call it. I don't know how the LS community calls it, but we're using everything up to the cat, which then we had MagnaFlow make us something. Now you can order everything from Concept 841, but we wanted to get MagnaFlow to make us our tips and our mufflers, because we actually are gonna run a slight muffler setup on this car, just because, listen, I'm all about loud cars, okay? But something about a straight pipe LS with no mufflers, no resonators, I've heard them, it's just a lot. So we wanted to put just a little bit of a muffler system on here. Nothing crazy, but we're gonna have 2 matching little mufflers. It's just gonna help with the rasp a little bit, and it's still gonna be plenty loud. But it's gonna be awesome. Little quad tips.
Nice.
Very cool. Okay. Is it on?
Yeah.
My wrists are breaking. Ow!
Me and TJ are like not even one Dylan.
Dylan did it by himself.
Jesse's got it. He's about to have it.
Yeah, he's got the channel
He's about to have it. Leverage. That's my guy right there.
Now that the exhaust is fully buttoned up, it's time for us to move on to the physical appearance of this car. Our car does not look like a car yet, but it will today. We have a body kit from 945 Garage. I will be honest, we did get another body kit before this. I hated it. It looked ridiculous. So I got ourselves a new kit. This is 945. It's actually very nice. It's just flared, just a flared rear. The front has a little bit more detail on it. It's more of like a Grand Sport ZR1 Z06 front fender with pulled out front flares. All we gotta do to get this stuff fitted is drill out some of the holes, which I've already gotten after. But I've already drilled out both the rear fenders, so let's go ahead and test fit these on. I wanna give a little shout out to 945 because we needed a body kit ASAP, and I reached out to them and they had a set that was ready to rip. But he did say, hey, these are the old molds, so you might need a little bit of trimming and stuff, which is totally fine. I appreciate him giving the heads up on, but he was like, you're gonna need to like trim some stuff, but honestly, it looks great. So I'm super stoked on this. I'm gonna link them down below, it's on screen. They're actually really big in the drift world. So super hyped to run this. It's gonna give our car a really good aggressive look, because it still doesn't look like it yet. Look, we got a little flame decal. Dylan loves flames. Love flames. Did you find the hardware yet?
Yeah, for all the fenders? I just haven't found it for that yet.
Said it like you were British.
That one's important. Well, I gotta drill that
You
one.
found out the hard way
You
yet?
find the hardware yet? Oi, Bob, jolly me, did you find?
This doesn't have anywhere to attach in the rear. Oh, we gotta install that. Oh, I got it. I'm good, man.
Oh, that was good.
You know,
What do you say to people? TJ, you don't work on your cars anymore.
they're right. The bumper has studs, and then we use these fatties, so like you can really bore those out.
Sure,
For
let's
fit.
do it.
So I'm gonna grab the Christmas tree bit and give her a little bit of love. Cause who doesn't love a little crema time? Mary Chrysler. And
because this is a drift car, we're gonna have a lot of movement with our front wheels. Turning left to right, there's gonna be way more than normal. So we're gonna trim the inside composite of these fenders just so we can eliminate any possibility of us rubbing on the inside. With that being said, we're gonna go ahead and install the front and rear fenders because everything is now drilled out. But we're gonna show you the final form in just a little bit. So while we're working on that, I'm gonna go ahead and step over to the headlights because they need a little bit of work. The headlights on the C6 are very old and crusty, and I was gonna purchase new ones, but it just costs so much to get new headlights. So we're just gonna save these ones. We're gonna do that using the Meguiar's Ultimate Headlight Restoration Kit. This is my favorite kit. It's actually new to their lineup. Super easy. So the headlight's very yellow, it's very oxidated. I've already started some of my sanding. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna wet sand with 1000 grit, then I'm gonna wet sand with 1000 grit, and then all we're gonna do is wipe down the headlight with a sealant wipe, just overpass it a couple times, and we're gonna let it dry, and it's gonna look amazing. And I've already done one of them. And this is what it'll look like done. Now this is still gonna dry over the course of 24 to 72 hours. And I can't stress this product enough. If you guys have headlights that are looking disgusting and you wanna save them, buy that headlight restoration kit and I promise you, you'll thank me later. Very easy to do, really hard to mess up, and you get really good looking headlights. Now that we've done this, let me give you guys a current update on what the car currently looks like. Everything drivetrain on the car is now finished. We have everything on the suspension wise also finished. Wise fab up front, custom spring rate, Öhlins, coilovers. We're gonna be running the stock bar. Still need to do an alignment, so it looks a little bit crazy right now. We have the whole entire brake line system completed, because we did new brake lines on all 4 corners. We also did an ABS delete. We did a brake bias. So we added a lot of new stuff to the brake system itself. We also added the whole entire hydro line system and the new dual caliper brakes in the back, which again, added new line system. Everything is routed, everything is bled, everything is done. One thing I did want to mention to you guys is we added the diff brace in the back, which you can see right here. Apparently these cars when drifting sometimes like to explode in the diff. So this brace kind of helps minimize the stress on that. So that's really cool. We were able to get that in. Exhaust system routed and done. Fuel system is also done, but that's inside the gas tank, as you guys already saw. Rear bumper.
This view is crazy.
Yeah. I mean, dude, this car is, you know, it's really like the A90 Supra we did, but this car was supposed to be, to put this in perspective, if I haven't said this yet, this car is meant to replace my stock 370Z. If you guys remember, I had the stock VQ with nitrous, with angle kit and hydro. That was our, what we call our practice car. It was a very reliable setup that could just burn tires all day long. And the 370Z, let's call it 10 years ago, was kind of like the cheat code. Everyone had a 350, 370, kept in stock, and you could, you know, drive them all the time. Now, the C6s are getting very, very popular to where you can take that same mentality of the 370 and just put it to the Corvette. That's essentially what we did. We wanted to have a stock drivetrain car, meaning stock transmission, stock engine. We built ours, but same, and stock diff, and upgrade everything else around it because they are so reliable and will make tons of power, which you guys will see later in this video. So this is gonna be replacing our 370Z and is going to be a great practice car, and there's a couple different competition series that require like 215 tire classes that we can drive this car on. Calvin right now is finishing up all of the line routing. There is a lot of lines. We have a bunch of Chase Bay's products. We have Chase Bay oil coolers left and right. These aren't out yet. So these are kind of prototypes, which is super awesome that he sent it to us. So we're actually giving him some information about line measurements and stuff. We also have the new power steering cooler from Chase Bay's as well. And lastly, the engine bay is almost done. As you can see, nearly everything is on the car. All of our lines, all of our fueling components. We're missing our radiator still, and we have it, but the last thing that we need to do is connect our new power steering pump to the rack. And when we added this new accessory brace to move the alternator over to fit our new pump, it changed some of the line dimensions a little bit. So we're gonna get a new line made today so we can connect the pump to the actual power steering rack. Once that goes in, the radiator is like a few pieces of hardware, and then it's just connecting our hoses, and it's pretty much done. But while we're waiting for the new power steering line to come in, we wanna start this car. We're supposed to dyno this car in 48 hours, and it looks very far from that, but we're very close. So to do that, we're gonna put some oil in this car. We're gonna be using Valvoline VR1 2050, of course, nothing but the best. It's a big moment.
Let's just hope it doesn't go through a hole at the bottom.
I was gonna say, let's hope we don't see a leak. somewhere. It's been such a long build that like.
So far we're 10 out of 10 no leaks.
That is true. Out of all the builds, we've never had anything leak when we built it, other than when we put a hole in the block of.
Yeah, the Evo leaked quite a bit actually. Why are you putting that in the coolant film?
That would be so sad. And while Dylan's filling up the rest of the car, Dylan sourced some OG little taillights. We had some like crappy OLED taillights.
Yeah, where are they?
I think they're in the trash. We hated them so much. It was just bad. And I don't know, something about like just like the 06, 07 bright red halogen taillights are cool. So we're gonna be throwing these in today. And it's actually super easy. I love how simple America made this. It's literally just 2 tabs, slip it in the bottom bumper, and it slips in like this, and you put a screw through it.
Wow.
It's so simple. It's the best. It's so great. We're at the Sunoco gas station right now because I think we're ready for the first start attempt. We just want to make sure the car is running and that we get fuel pressure and we get good oil pressure. So to do that, we need some fuel in the car. With this setup, we're actually gonna do just E85. Typically, we usually do like a flex fuel content sensor, but we're actually using the stock ECU with this car rather than doing a Haltech just because it's a little bit easier for this certain application. So we didn't add a flex fuel sensor. It's gonna be straight E85. So we're gonna get some Sunoco E85R, put some fuel in it, key it on, try to listen for our fuel pumps, hope all the wiring we did months ago was correct and everything's plumbed correctly, and attempt to start it. We're gonna supply power to the car with the battery, and I don't know the sequence of Corvettes, and I bet you Dylan doesn't know it off the top of his head either, but we want to get this car to key onto accessory mode to hopefully hear the fuel pump. That's our first step. Once we hear that, we'll check for any leaks. If we don't see any, we might just try and start it. We don't have the radiator on, we have no coolant in the car, all we have is oil. So the idea is just to make sure it turns on and runs. And I was actually talking with Dylan about this. Given the fact that it's still on a factory ECU, and it's still all the factory wiring harness and all factory plugs, with the ethanol in it and with the injector size, Dylan's gonna adjust the fuel pressure regulator to be around 58 PSI. It should be enough to have the car just run. Now it's not gonna run great. It should be able to adjust enough for the car to run. That's all we're checking for right now. Once we know that it runs, we'll put all the cooling components back on the car and get ready for the dyno. Oh yeah, look at him. That's what happens when chats do bad things. You reprimand them with a bottle of water.
Yeah, you're lucky.
Yeah, Calvin asked me this morning if he was more cat or dog energy, and because of that interaction right there, I'd say cat energy.
If DJ was an animal,
Don't do it.
He'd be no, he'd be like a stink bug.
bad cat.
There it is.
Whoa!
There it is.
If you're still watching the video at this point, you've seen us do a lot, and it's time for us to finally give our first start. We stripped the whole entire chassis. We redid the whole entire interior. We did a complete new suspension setup. We've done a new exhaust. We built the engine. And now it's time to see if all of our disassembly and reassembly was done correctly, and it all comes down to this moment. Okay, he's got nothing on the inside. Why don't you hit, it says, no fobs detected.
Nice, that's exactly what I wanted out of this.
All right,
Well, can confirm, when should wiper motors work?
Dylan, it should have, I didn't hear anything, but silent. Fuel pumps are silent, apparently. And it didn't work. Now, immediately our mind starts going in a bunch of different directions because there are so many components that need to happen for an engine to start. But one of the biggest things that we messed with was the fueling system. The engine is rebuilt to a certain degree, but it still utilizes the factory ECU and the factory wiring harness, so there's really not too much to mess up other than something being unplugged. But the fueling system, as you guys remember, was completely disassembled. We did a little bit of new wiring, new pumps, so our minds went there first. Now it's time to investigate. I think we found the problem. Do you see right there beneath Dylan's right hand? See that plug that's right there?
Yep.
We just used Dylan's borescope. Look what Dylan found.
I think I'm no mechanic. I'm no mechanic, but I think that needs to be plugged into that.
Oh shit.
Can we put a little hook on the end of the borescope and hook it?
I like your idea, and I think we're gonna do that.
No way. I'm not confident in this plan whatsoever. There's no way that this is gonna work. We found it clearly on the borescope.
I fucking love it.
Look at the
POV.
All right, let's try it out. Scream me. That doesn't feel right.
Oh, there it is.
Deeper. Oh my god. No. Oh my god.
No way.
It's
No way.
Come on. Come on. Oh my god.
I can't believe that worked.
all right. So we should have a fuel pump now. Yeah.
I can't
What a
believe
great
that
clip. That was awesome.
That was fucking sick.
That's my favorite highlight reel for sure. Twan's idea. Shout out.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
That was good.
thank you.
Executed. Twan's idea.
Yeah.
All right. Let's see. We
It
want,
raised, that was good.
was it 80s, 60s right there? Okay, do it again. Hey, that's cool.
Oh, it works.
That's cool.
Yeah, it just worked.
Again. I think we have exhaust leaks and maybe one of the spark plugs isn't plugged in, but that just ran, no problems.
Dude, that sounds rowdy.
That's loud.
Where did you see the spark plug?
I just hear a miss, so I'm just kind of like putting a hand on everything real quick. We put the new O2 sensors in? No. Sounds like there's a missing O2 sensor on that side.
I didn't leave it in. You know what? Don't move.
Okay.
Don't move.
Well, hey, the car started twice now. This is great. It's only small things like putting the O2 sensor.
Forgot that one.
Sounds great. That's with the 85. No tune, no two sensors, and a fresh motor, and everything done quite a bit ago.
Just a little bit of smoke out coming out the top of there, yeah?
A bunch of this all over the exhaust.
Now the next steps we're gonna take is hot wiring the ABS and traction control through the ABS harness. That is gonna allow this car to just have ABS and traction control never turn on ever again, which is exactly what we want. I'm gonna put some ATF from Valvoline in the car. That's for our power steering. And then we're gonna go ahead and install our PWR radiator, attach the rest of our coolant hoses, and we should be able to actually turn this car, let it run, bleed the power steering. One thing we haven't done yet is an alignment. We still need to do our alignment. And now that the engine is running, we can finally start reassembling the rest of the engine bay, which is really just the radiator system. And for the radiator, I went with a PWR radiator. And I'm the biggest advocate for PWR because my prior use with them was in my 350Z drift car. I was constantly fighting overheating issues with that car, and it's something I just learned to live with. I thought it was just how the car lived. But then I upgraded to a PWR radiator, and I instantly saw a dramatic drop in all of our temperatures. The car was stout, it never overheated, now it struggles even to get warm. more. Since that day, I told myself I would never run anything other than PWR if I had the option. They are my favorite radiators, and I am taking a vow. So with this new PWR radiator installed on the car, we can put our hoses back in and finally button up this engine bay. And moving on to the alignment, I have my boy Tanner come down. Tanner does mobile alignments. His Instagram is OC Mobile Alignment, and I love working with him because we don't have to trailer our car anywhere. He's a professional at what he does, and he usually does all of our alignments. And for specs, I actually reached out to Matt Field and Tanner Munson, two guys who are really familiar with the C6 chassis, and I got some baseline numbers from them, but it's all subject to change once we actually test this car, but at least we have a really good starting point that we're confident with. Cooling system is in the car, starting to look like a car.
Yeah.
Tanner's in the middle of his alignment, got the wheels on, we're setting everything, getting it dialed, but dyno is in less than 24 hours. So before we do that, we're going to run the car and check our temperature levels. One thing we need to be very aware of is what our oil pressure is. So we're gonna run it and ideally try to bleed the whole system today, so we don't need to do it on the dyno tomorrow, and just overwatch our temperatures, make sure nothing gets too hot, see if the fans kick on, and again, keep an eye on our oil pressure. Then when you're ready, I'll start it.
Yeah, go for it. That's fine. Start it, and then you can check pressures and temperatures.
What was the temps again? 45 and what?
What we want to see is oil pressure when the car is warm, around 45. It's gonna be cold, obviously, when we start it, so it's gonna be around like maybe 60, 65, but because we did a whole new oiling system, we want to see that number around 45 warm. Oil pressure currently at 58. That's good.
Never had a V8 before.
It's not even tuned yet. It's got a good chop.
This gets me excited.
Damn.
I'm
Imagine
excited.
pulling up to the line. You're listening to that. Woo!
Damn. Oh, it sounds sick. That's gnarly.
The back is crazy.
It's big rich right now.
Oh my God, dude.
Holy.
The alignment is done. We're gonna get this thing ready to go in the trailer. So it's the first time the car is ever gonna drive under its own power since the rebuild.
It's a big moment.
It is a big moment.
Let's hope the clutch was installed correctly.
I hope it's loose. I hope all the bolts are loose.
It's just clicking. Oh.
That means the clutch works. That means the brakes work. This is good.
Damn, boy. Damn, son. Look at that angle.
All right, we'll see you guys at the dyno. So today's realistic goal is to reach around 500 horsepower. That's what I think we can get out of it. I think there's a possibility we could even get a little bit more out of it. But at the end of the day, if we can leave with this car running and no issues, that is ultimately the goal. But the extra wish, the Santa's list that I have is 500.
And a windowed motor.
Let's get started. After being on the dyno for a few minutes, Darting quickly realized that our alternator wasn't charging. And after wasting about 10 minutes or so trying to find the problem, I decided to make the executive call to go down to the nearest parts store and buy a brand new alternator and a battery. That, my friends, is what makes a Corvette cool. Alternator's bad, no worries. No need to special order some rare JZ or RB26 alternator. Go down to O'Reilly's and get a brand new one. The new alternator would just give us a little bit of insurance to let us know if our old one was or wasn't working. But just in case that didn't fix our problem, I picked up a brand new battery as well. So if we don't have any alternator working, we can at least finish our dyno session with a brand new battery and fix it later. So with that being said and the new components on the car, we started to run the vet for some dyno passes.
Bunch of bees. crazy.
We gained 14 horsepower. I just taken my filter off.
That's why I watched it. I was like, it's gonna taper off. Here's what.
At the end of the day, we finished off making 490 horsepower, but we talked about adding a few more things like an intake manifold, a new throttle body, and a new intake, and it should help us gain an easy another 20 to 30 horsepower. But this is right where we want it to be. An LS3 NA will pretty much make about 500 horsepower, and that's a lot out of this engine and very reliable. So this is right where we wanted our car to be at. So we're leaving the dyno super happy, and the car is running very healthy. And after a successful day at the dyno with a couple band-aids to get the job done, our vet is ready. With a few minor fixes at the shop, we're gonna be getting ready to head to the racetrack, but it wouldn't be a proper dyno day if the car didn't do a little bit of squirting.
Just one straight. A little bit that way, straight. It's just the cap on the overflow, but it's clearly upset.
Oh! Oh, there goes all of our water wetter. That's gonna be stinky. Dude, it started squirting on me. I'm like, it's gonna be hot! It's now the next day and we're back from the dyno and we have a few things to fix with the Corvette. The main problem that we have to fix after the dyno is why is our alternator not charging? I have Mark coming in today to help with that. He's really good with wiring. And other than that, it's a bunch of small issues. Some small coolant leaks. We had one of our little vacuum caps burst on our overflow. Our radiator's leaking just a little bit. Gotta tighten it up. A bunch of minor stuff. And we are planning to test this car in 4 days at Orange Show Motor Speedway. So now we have a time crunch. I already rented out the track, already paid for the track, and we need to get this car ready. So beyond a few minor things we have to fix, it's time to make this car look good. And to make it look good, we need a bunch of wrap. So I reached out to the boys over at 3M and I sent out a brand new color of their 2080 series. And that color is satin black. Now, let me explain to you why I did satin black. Some of you guys might be like, oh, it's so basic. Calvin might be talking crap because I'm not doing some wild color because he always loves to give me drama because of it.
I like it.
You like it?
I actually like it.
You actually always like to take any opportunity to dump on me.
I like you.
So in turn, you like the color.
I like you.
Okay. Let me explain. I don't know what I'm gonna do for a livery of this car. This car isn't gonna be our competition car. It's supposed to be our practice car. It's supposed to be our demo car. It's supposed to be our, low maintenance race car. We have the pro cars that are all liveried up, that we have a bunch of partners to help pay for those cars to make them go around. But this one, we just kind of built all out of pocket with the help of some, a few of our partners, which is awesome. So I don't know what I really want to do for color. And what I do know is that a wide-bodied, big cam V8 Corvette is a very menacing looking car. And what's more menacing than satin black? Not many other colors. So I went with 3M's 280 satin black, which I think is gonna look good, but I will probably add something eventually. We're gonna be doing matte black, satin black as the base, and I'm sure we'll throw on a few sponsors and maybe some sort of a livery at a later date, but I don't know what that will be yet. But our base color that we're gonna do is gonna be satin black, and I think it's gonna look super sick. So of course, I have CJ from Ghost Wraps coming down, doing a little install today, and I had to tell him, CJ, remember this isn't a show car, this isn't a street car, it's a race car, which means perfection isn't our goal. Our goal is timeline.
I can't not do perfection.
And CJ hates when I say that. But just like when we did the A90 Supra, these cars get thrashed so much and they get destroyed so easily and beat up that spending a bunch of time wrapping all around every edge and tucking all this material is awesome for street cars. But for this purpose, what I'd rather want is just cover all the areas and you could just cut at the seams and fold them down. Doesn't need to be perfect because odds are in a month or two, we're gonna be replacing fenders with new fenders and rewrapping them, and it just gets inefficient at that point. So if any of you guys are looking for any sort of wrap or PPF or anything of that realm, hit up my boy CJ from Ghost Wraps. He's local to San Diego, and he'll come to your house and do a whole entire install free of charge.
On me. It's literally on me.
That's a joke. He won't do that. But if you need any help with anything, hit him up. He's done every single car in the shop. Oh, except the 350. That was way before I knew CJ. But if I did have that car and CJ was here, he would have done the 350.
Yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited for this.
It's gonna be cool.
And I'm gonna throw some pink on it when you don't know, so don't worry about that. Yeah. So, stay tuned.
So while CJ is getting started with the roof, I'm gonna go ahead and jump to the fenders because the fenders are fiberglass and they need just a little bit of work. So I'm gonna hit both fenders with a little bit of sandpaper so we can get some even surface when we lay down the wrap so it looks cohesive and smooth through and through. And once I finished with that, I left CJ to finish off the rest of the car. Of the puzzle.
Go for it. Go here. I got this side.
Oh, it looks so sick.
Well, it obviously still needs to be fitted and stuff, but it looks killer.
Damn.
Should we lay the hood on?
I was literally about to say lay the hood on. Damn, that's a big cowl.
Yeah, it's huge, dude.
Damn.
Aggressive, huh? Yeah, eventually I'm sure we'll throw some sort of livery. I told you guys about that. I will probably put some sort of livery on it, but dude, I'm stoked. It looks really good. CJ?
Appreciate you, Doug.
Oh, man. We have 24 hours now before we're going to be on track at Orange Show Speedway to test this whole car. You thought we were going to build this whole entire car and not test it in this video? Of course not. So rest of today, what we have to do is reassemble our front hubs, put our brakes back on, do a quick bleed over everything again, and load her in the trailer.
No. Burnouts.
I like that idea.
Burnouts.
We should test to see if it does a burnout.
Test it, dude.
Gotta make sure
It's the smart thing to do is test it with burnout.
Have to make sure there's enough horsepower.
I gotta know if it can burn tire. I'm sorry.
I don't know if it will, dude. So when we were on the dyno last with Darden, we were having that problem where the car wasn't recharging, the alternator wasn't working. Well, I'm gonna save you guys all the explanation because we found what the problem was, and it was the fact that we're running this accessory bracket that is powder coated, and because it's powder coated, the alternator wasn't grounding anywhere. So what we did is we pretty much just like shaved off the powder coating here, so now that the alternator is actually grounding to the block, and it worked perfectly. Additionally, when we were dynoing, we also didn't realize that we didn't have the master vacuum hooked up, which is why our brakes were a little bit spongy, but there was a massive vacuum leak, which was this hose right here. So now that we've reconnected that to the back of the block, now it doesn't have a vacuum leak, so Darden is doing a little house call today, and he's gonna fix that for us. It's essentially just adjusting like the idle control, and it should be working.
Yeah.
Do you always do house calls for people?
Sometimes, rarely, mostly for TJ. No, it's actually I think this is your first house.
The first house call.
Yeah, but
Wow.
the main thing is before I was trying to increase the airflow tables, and then once we got it running, once I scaled the injectors, then I had to lower the airflow tables. So now I got to go back and give it more airflow because there's no more vacuum leak. So because that big cam, you can't. These things don't make vacuum anyways when you put a big cam. So it's kind of hard to tell if you have a leak or not.
Wow.
But now the leak's fixed, and she doesn't want to probably idle when it's cold and idle.
Yeah, to start it, you kind of have to give it a little bit of gas now.
Yeah. So now I gotta open up the throttle body and get it to fire up. So it's a little process.
Wow. Well, thank you, Darden. We appreciate you. And we're supposed to be on the track in 24 hours at this point. So still a few more things to finish up, but we're making progress. All right, good news. When we were on the dyno, we noticed how restricted the stock intake was, and the reason why we didn't have our new intake on because it didn't show up in time. So when we did the dyno, we actually just took the stock filter out of here, so we're running it with no filter, which we obviously don't want to do. But our new intake just got in from K&N. They sent me a cool hat too.
Oh, that looks sick.
Yeah, it deletes this
Damn.
little restriction box.
Yeah.
And will breathe way better with this filter. So
Damn. That's
I'm
dope.
hyped. I want to install this and put it on. I'm super hyped on it. It'll look like that.
Sick.
Yeah, thank you, K&N.
Little carbon hit right there at the bottom. Love
Yeah,
that.
I gotta put over the math sensor and put in this little breather tube. What's nice about this intake is it's much smaller than the stock one. You can fit a much bigger intake on it, and it still utilizes the math and the breather port. So now Darden's just gonna fire the car up with this just to make sure it fires up with the new math location, and our work here should be done, at least for Darden. All right, this is our 3-inch cowl hood. This is from RK Sport. They actually sent it to us, so that was awesome, which right now, we don't really need the 3-inch cowl, but we're gonna be putting a new intake manifold on, which is gonna need the extra room. So pretty cool that we have this.
Oh, that's a cool thing.
I did that
When did that come in?
just now.
Wait, you cast
Dylan,
it
does
yourself?
your hand have oil on it?
No.
And with the last bit of body adjustments, panel gapping, and the hood going on, the Corvette is officially complete. Dylan and I just drove the car up and down the street. Everything seemed to work. The brakes work, hydro works. We're ready to go to the track, but before we do that, we're gonna do one little burnout just to make sure the car does what we want it to do. It may seem simple, but a quick little burnout can let us know if anything is apparently wrong. And now with all of our simple checks out of the way and the car passing with flying colors, it's time for the real test. But for that, we need a racetrack. All right, boys, we're here at my favorite track, Orange Show Speedway. This is where 90% of the competitions that I drive are at. So what a better place to rent out to test our car. Now, enough building, enough waiting. Let's go test this damn Corvette and see what she's all about. We have the whole track to ourselves, and I invited out a few friends that I like to drift with. If you guys have been watching for a while, I got Sean Illingworth here. We literally learned to drift together. We used to have matching Z's, and now he's driving Formula Drift. So he's here, and I also have one of my other boys, Mason, out here. Everyone's a ripper, but before we start driving with everybody, we need to go make sure the car drives and drifts, and I need to get used to the car. So let's go do some solo laps, let's go do some donuts, let's go feel this car out and see how she feels. The first couple things I'm really gonna try to do with this car is some simple donuts and figure eights, really to get an idea if the car will break up at all, if the car likes to live towards red line, because sometimes these can throw some codes and throw check engine lights, and really just try to see how the car feels. I've never drifted a C6 chassis, so everything is new to me. So with Dylan in the car, we're both keeping our ears open to hear anything that might not sound right and feel for something that might not feel quite right. But honestly, the car was dialed and we were ready to start pushing. But before we do that, we want to come in really quick just to look over the car one time before we start driving harder.
It's sick.
Holy shit!
It's sick.
Oh my god! Yo, this chassis is insane! It's a cheat code!
Damn.
Holy shit! Oh, that is crazy!
You looked fast.
Oh, dude, we could drop like 12 more PSI in the rear. Oh, it rips.
Yeah.
Good? It rips.
Those are our first laps.
Yeah, we were trying to be super careful on the bank. Dylan and I were just gonna do some donuts, and after a couple, I went to Dylan and I'm like, I'm gonna hit it. He was like, oh yeah. So we went really careful, Dude, the alignment setup, dialed. Maybe drop a little bit in the front. Rear setup looked good. The way it flows is amazing. Have to remember it's an LS, so you really have to make sure you're up in the RPM. I'm so used to JZs, so you kind of have to get a little bit of clutch kick to get up on the pipe. Its side bite is insane. When I can be super lazy in e-brake or transition and like go max lock.
Yeah.
As long as I get back on with high gas, it will save itself and walk itself out. Insane.
It looked crazy. There were times where I was like, oh my God, he threw too much angle and you just throttled on and got right out of it. That was crazy.
How did it sound?
Nuts.
So Sean is in the white 350Z, and this is a 700 plus horsepower LS, and he's also drifting on a way stickier tire, which is an FD tire that he runs. But as you can see, as I'm working my way up with him, I'm actually able to keep some decent pace with him, given how much chassis this Corvette has, and he actually didn't run away from me as far as I thought. And remember, I'm really going about a 7 out of 10 for these first couple laps and really throughout the night, because we're not here to throw away our car until we're at a competition. This is just to get comfortable, and we're really trying to find something to break on the car. This is a test day. So it's about having fun, but we're really trying to find maybe where some weak links will live in this car so we can fix it. But enough of me talking. Let's play some raw audio so you guys can hear both of these LS's just scream. Seeing both of these cars drive together is awesome, but Sean's car is so loud it kind of drowns out the sound of our car, so I want to give you guys a couple raw clips of what these 841 headers sound like. This car sounds like a rotary at high RPM and has that low LS chop. I absolutely love it. The MagnaFlow setup, 841 setup is dialed. Check it out. We're probably like 20 laps in. I feel amazing. I can't believe how good the car is. Like the car just, I feel very great. It feels very natural. Getting used to like the depth of the car. Already got into the wall a little bit, so kind of brushed off the cobwebs. Because one thing I was worried about was how short the tail was, just not knowing where the car was.
You seem like you didn't have any issues with the length in the front either.
No, I mean, once you're in, you kind of just know. I love this car. This is such a monumental upgrade compared to the 370Z stock car.
Yeah.
Because that's what this is supposed to be.
Yeah.
I can't believe I was competing against these builds with the stock 370Z. That's what's crazy.
And you were beating most of them.
Yeah. 10 out of 10. There's a couple things we need to fix. We're burning some plug wires, which luckily we were able to borrow some ceramic plugs that were like super extended that aren't melting because our headers are so tight. We keep frying everything. Apart from that, car hasn't skipped a beat. It's been great.
Solid.
It's been super good. We have this funny joke on this channel where there is a curse with Dylan. Anytime Dylan drives any of my cars, whether it's my Evo that grenaded or any of my drift cars, he always finds a way to break them. Or if it's not him, the car always finds something to break with Dylan in the car, whether it's his fault or not. So we decided to test our fate again tonight and throw Dylan in the car to see how he likes the Corvette, but also see if the curse is lifted.
Solid.
Solid! That feels so weird! That feels so weird! I'm so not used to YSFAB or the Corvette at all, and I haven't drifted in like 2 years.
Dude,
so,
you were wheeling into that second outer zone.
Really?
Yeah,
okay, cool.
You were hauling.
More RPM.
What?
More RPM.
Okay.
Too low.
I'm just gonna do one more lap.
Yeah.
You got it.
Dylan breaks the curse of not breaking every car that we make.
Oh.
Big,
I know, but as you said that, imagine it
yeah,
dies.
dude.
Dude, I told him he was wheeling into that fucking second outer zone.
Yeah, and then you see how much it on his side by and he flicked, it gripped up.
Yeah.
And he was like, oh, he was surprised. It surprised him. But he's too low in the RPM. He still has another like 1,500 to go.
And what, like limp mode and limited throttle input.
Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh my god.
What? Really?
Yeah.
You're giving it gas?
Yeah.
Reduced engine power.
Bro, there's no fucking way.
No! Can you drive back?
No, I can't, but...
Pop the hood, I'll disconnect the battery.
What? Okay, I'm sorry. That's weird. That's like...
Guys, that was 100% not fake.
Oh,
that was
that's
100% real. Oh. No, there's a problem, bud.
What?
MAP sensor wires are hosed.
Are they?
Oh yeah, half of them are disconnected.
Well,
They braked.
there's your issue.
Yeah, that'll do it, brother. There's a little break in the wire there, brother.
The curse continues.
Hey, they're getting lighter and lighter.
It's not as bad this time.
True. Okay.
Watch, you have your phone. But ridiculous that actually just happened. Well, I would say that our test day was a 10 out of 10. Apart from some minor issues that we found with plug wires getting burned up, we're rubbing a little bit on this front brake line. Nothing too serious. This was awesome. We're already making changes to the car. We actually have some new stuff coming in from Holly, like an intake manifold, plug wires, coils. My mom? Two-step. Oh yeah. Which we don't technically need, but it's a red limiter. But this was a very long video, and if you watch this whole entire thing, I just want to say thank you. This was a completely different concept we had of trying to do a whole entire build in one episode, and I hope you guys liked it. For us, filming it, it's really stressful, but the reward of seeing the video once it's done and seeing the complete progress is awesome. And if you're watching this close to the day that this video actually went live, we're gonna be competing with this car this weekend. So by the time you guys are watching this, in 2 days, we will be at a competition driving with a bunch of other big boy cars and FD cars. I'm really excited to see how this will go. And we will probably be filming an episode for the Clips channel of how it does. So stay tuned for that. But my whole entryway into the Corvette world with this car, I'm obsessed. I know this was a drift car and not a street car, and some of you guys kind of sussed that out from the very beginning, but driving this car on the track has opened the floodgates of Corvettes and LSs and certain type of builds that I want to do for the street. Now I'm really obsessed with the thought of doing like a C6 Z06 or something like that, just because these cars are so awesome. And it's really cool that you're able to drop the whole entire drivetrain from this car and separate it like a Hot Wheels, but working on them is a nightmare. Everything has to come apart to get to something in this car. I don't know if it's like that for the C6s, but it's tough. Dylan, Calvin, do you have anything that you want to say about the Corvette build? Fond memories?
I want to say I had so much fun taking apart the entire thing. Like, I always enjoy when we have to strip everything, like the 911.
Oh, my bad.
Like the 911, the green one, when I had to strip that, and then also our BRZs, whenever we had to strip those. I love taking this car apart. It's insane to see that torque tube, but like it's cool to see it all out.
Dude, when we did the fuel tank like 4 months ago, I was so scared that the wiring was screwed up when we tried to start it. When we had to use the borescope to find that one plug that was left. That was sketchy.
I like that you're finally turning towards LSs. And that's coming from someone that loves turbos and JZs, but
I've always heard so many mixed reviews about LSs because the power band, and even on this last test day, sometimes it like struggles because we have that big cam, it doesn't make too much low and it's all top end. Sometimes it would struggle on track to like, you know, get above 5,000 RPM if you kind of let the RPMs drop a little bit. And where I'm used to like the JZs with the turbos, once they hit that like 34, 35, the turbo spools and it just lights up to the RPM. It's different getting used to the LS, or even just a little bit of a clutch kick, or it's just, hey, drive with more RPM and don't drop it. But it's really cool. I like it a lot.
I feel like when you think about it like a turbo car and you drive it like a turbo car, it drives better. Because you don't think about the low end or it, you know, falling off into grip like it did, so you just drive it up high.
I've just always heard of like LSs causing you to be a lazy driver, which I could definitely see.
If you start that way.
So
if you start turbo, start small engine, start lots of momentum, aggressiveness, and then you go to an LS, it's bitching. You're an aggressive driver, you drive the car like it should be. But if you start with LS, I think you just kind of get lazy. Like starting with an angle kit or a handbrake or something.
That's an inside joke. If you're learning to drift, don't learn on a stock angle car. Just go get an angle kit. Go get an angle kit.
They'll watch for another 2 hours. We won't talk about it. But yeah, I don't know. I like this car. I grew to like it a lot. I already started to like it when we first started it, but I don't know. When a car goes right the first test day, I don't know. You don't
Besides
get.
when you got in the front seat and you were the curse. That still lives.
Oh, you're right. You're right. 20-year-old.
Any of them. Yeah. Well, we already fixed it.
And
and probably a bunch of other things we're forgetting.
Yeah, but hey, you gotta test these somehow, you know?
Yeah, super hyped. Thank you to all the partners who made this video happen. There was so many people involved in making this car come to life, and we're stoked, and hopefully you guys liked it. If you made it this far, give the video a thumbs up and leave a comment down below so that we know that you guys enjoyed what we did. And if you guys like it, we'll do more videos like this and try to do it faster than 6 months, hopefully.
Welcome to the 2.5 hour club.
I think we're like an hour 30.
Hour 30 something, yeah.
Damn. All right, boys. Thank you for watching. Lots of videos to come this month, so stay tuned for that. I know it's been a little bit slow this past month, but we've been finishing a bunch of stuff. We got Evo getting finished up. We have 488 getting finished up. We have last minute things on this getting finished up. We have stuff for Anthony's car because you guys got 55,000 likes on a video that we got to finish up. We're doing some stuff on Kevin's car, which we'll see in the next couple days. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you boys in the next one. Peace out and keep moving.